friction point between Afghanistan and Pakistan. The issue had showed distrust between Afghan and Pakistan for decades and is potential flashpoint in relations between the Taliban and Pakistan. Earlier this week, Taliban spokesman Jaibullah Mujahideen told a Pashto channel in Pakistan that Afghans opposed the fence erected by Pakistan along the Durand Line. The new Afghan government will announce its position on this issue. The fencing has separated people and divided families. We want to create a secure and peaceful environment on the border, so there is no need to create barriers, Mujahideen said. The issue has shown distrust between Afghans and Pakistan for decades and is a potential flashpoint in relations between the Taliban and Pakistan. Line dividing the Pashtun. The Durand Line is a legacy of the 19th century great game between the Russian and British empires, in which Afghanistan was used as a buffer by the British against a feared Russian expansionism to its east. The agreement demarcating what became known as the Durand Line was signed on November 12, 1893 between the British civil servant Sir Henry Mortimer Durand and Amir Abdur Rahman, then the Afghan ruler. Abdur Rahman became king in 1882, years after the end of the Second Afghan War, in which the British took control of several areas that were part of the Afghan kingdom. He was essentially a British puppet. His agreement with Durand demarcated the limits of his and British India's spheres of influence on the Afghan frontier with India. The seven-clause agreement recognized the 2670 line, which, according to Rajiv Dogra, author of Durand's Curse, a line across the Pathan Hat, Durand drew on the spot on a small map of Afghanistan during negotiations with the Amir. The line stretches from the border with China to Afghanistan border with Iran. Clause 4 said the frontier line would be laid down in detail and demarcated by British and Afghan commissioners, whose object will be to arrive by mutual understanding at a boundary which shall adhere with the greatest possible exactness to the line shown in the map. Attached to this agreement, having direct regard to the existing local rights of villages adjoining the frontier. In reality, the line cut through the Pashtun tribal areas, leaving village families and land divided between the two spheres of influence. It has been described as a line of hatred, arbitrary, illogical, cruel, and trickery on the Pashtuns. Some historians believe it was a ploy to divide the Pashtuns so that the British could keep control over them easily. It also put on the British side of the strategic Khyber Pass. Cross-border tensions. With independence in 1947, Pakistan inherited the Durand Line, with it also the Pashtun rejection of the line and the Afghanistan refusal to recognize it. Afghanistan was the only country to vote against Pakistan joining the United Nations in 1947. Pashtunistan, an independent country of the Pashtuns, was a demand made by Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan at the time of partition, although he later resigned himself to the reality of partition. The proximity of the frontier Gandhi to India was a point of tension between the two countries almost immediately. The fear of Indian support to Pashtun nationalism haunts Pakistan to date and is embedded in Afghan policy. Pakistan creation and support for the Taliban is seen by some as a move to obliterate ethnic Pashtun nationalism and with an Islamic identity, but it did not work out the way Pakistan has planned. When the Taliban seized power in Kabul the first time, they rejected the Durand Line. They also strengthened Pashtun identity with an Islamic radicalism to produce Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, whose terrorist attacks since 2007 left the country shaken. The fence. As cross-border tensions peaked in 2017 with several attacks on Pakistani border posts by militants that Pakistan accused Afghanistan of sheltering, while the Afghan government accused Pakistan of giving safe haven to Afghan Taliban and Haqqani network, Pakistan began erecting a fence on the Durand Line. While it may have reduced the movement of militants from Afghanistan into Pakistan, it did little to stop the movement of Afghan Taliban across the back. Now mostly completed, the fence has been a source of more tension as Afghans and Pashtuns on both sides of the border see it as a move by Pakistan to formalize the boundary, making their division permanent. This is the fence that Jaibullah Mujahid said was not acceptable to the Taliban. And Al Jazeera reported said that the 500 million fencing is actually two sets of chain linking fences with a 6 feet gap filled with concertina wire coils. It is a 11.6 feet high on the Pakistan side and 13 feet on the Afghan side. It is fitted with surveillance cameras and infrared detectors and punctuated by 1000 watchtowers. Cross-border movement will only be allowed through 16 formally designated points after the completion of the project. Pakistan believes that in the new situation in Afghanistan, the fence will help control any spillover from unrest and chaos there. Thank you.